It seems counterintuitive to make the claim that I'm about to make, but you can withdraw enough money from a taxable brokerage account to live comfortably and pay $0 in taxes. Everyone seems to recommend that we should use retirement accounts to save for the future. The problem is how much they overlook the issues with those kinds of accounts. You need to know the pros and cons of using them so you can decide where to invest your money in the type of account that matches your lifestyle and your goals. And my hypothesis is that a lot more of us might benefit from using a much simpler approach, which I'll explain in the second half of this video. We use retirement accounts right now because they give us certain tax advantages and tax breaks in the here and now. They're really great and they're set up to do that in different ways. Depending on the account that you have and the goals that you have, there's several options for you out there that can really help you. For example, a 401k is an employer-sponsored account. So that means that you have to have a job, you have to have the employer set it up for you, they have to kind of offer that to you, and then the rules set in because it has specific limits on how much you can put into it. It has limits on when you can access the money without penalties. And then it even forces you to withdraw the money at a certain age. Not to mention the limitation that's involved in you having to have that job to access that account. If you leave that job, you can't contribute money to that 401k anymore. You've got to move it, you've got to transfer it, you've got to do some stuff to still have it and still access it. That is a pain. And it's complicated. Think about that. I just listed off all those hoops to jump through. Who wants that? Same thing with IRAs. It's an individual retirement account because it's yours. It's completely owned by you, controlled by you. It's not tied to your employer at all. Seems good, right? Seems freeing, like you're not having those limits of the 401k. It's an individual retirement account. Au contraire, there's still tons of limits. There's limits on how much you can put into it. Limits on when and how you get the tax breaks. Limits on withdrawals. Hey, can I withdraw this money, please? It's mine, but if you don't do it in the right way, the government will slap you with taxes and with penalties and all these issues. Now I'll confess here that I have largely been using retirement accounts for a long time. And because the last 2 years have been really volatile in the economy, in my wife and I's work schedules, it's made me really second guess this commonly held wisdom because things came up with us that made me think maybe I should try and access some of this money. Maybe I should try and get some of it out so that we can do the things we want to do because I've been faithfully following the path. I've been shoveling money into these accounts, believing the commonly recommended wisdom from everybody, from books, from Dave Ramsey, from all these different people saying that these accounts are the best. And what I found was that that money is pretty inaccessible. And we have a smattering of all different retirement accounts. We both have 401ks, we've got Roths, I have a traditional IRA, I even have an SEP IRA. And so even though there are ways to technically get some of the money out of some of those accounts, even doing that is really complicated. And so it's this mental block to know that, well, maybe on that one account over there, we can get the money out, but I'm afraid of what's going to happen. Because it's not like when these penalties and things come that it happens right away. You don't get that immediate feedback. It won't happen until like you do your taxes or even later than that you finally find out, oh, I messed up, or oh, I have a massive tax bill now. I didn't realize that. Do we have an extra $4,000 laying around for us to pay this taxes? It's kind of a scary thing. So why do we like these kinds of retirement accounts over something that's simple, like a taxable brokerage account? Why do we avoid this simplest of accounts so much? Well, here are the commonly listed problems with something like a brokerage account. Number one, you're paying taxes on the money that goes into that account in the first place. So a lot of these retirement accounts like a 401k, a traditional IRA, an SEP IRA, they give you a tax break now. That means that whenever I put money in there, the government says, hey, Brendan didn't keep this money. Sally didn't keep this money to go buy a new Mustang with. No, it's in this account. We tracked it. We can see that it went from here to there. We know that it's there. And so because of that, we're going to pretend like that money doesn't exist. You're only going to get taxed on the rest of your money. So what that functionally means for us is we get a tax break right now. This year, we save money on taxes because we save for retirement. It's a pretty good deal. You don't get that with a brokerage account. The number two reason that we avoid something like a taxable brokerage account is that you get taxed along the way. The beautiful thing about something like an IRA or a 401k is that they can go up in value and you can get something like dividends where the companies give you essentially cash. They say, thanks for owning our stock. Here's a big lump of cash. That's a dividend. You don't get taxed on those in an IRA or 401k or things like that. The money's just there. It's piling up. You don't have to think about it. Taxes are not a concern. If you have a taxable brokerage account, here comes the taxable part because you're taxed on dividends. It's not a huge tax rate, but it's there. Number three reason why we typically don't recommend taxable brokerage accounts is that you get taxed on short-term capital gains if you sell for a profit in less than a year. Now, if you're not familiar with that term, short-term capital gains versus long-term capital gains, think of it in terms of time periods. A short-term decision costs you more money than a slow long-term decision. So I don't know exactly how that rule got set up in the first place. It's probably a wise one because if anything, it dissuades us from doing lots of like day trading and buying and selling all the time. But you just have to know that, oh, I invested in this stock. It went up a bunch of money this year and I'm going to sell it this year. If it's under a year that you've had it and you make money, that short-term capital gains rate is pretty big compared to other investing tax rates. Kind of sucks. So the brokerage account is kind of like an obstacle course. It seems like there's pitfalls everywhere. Watch out for taxes over here. Watch out for taxes over there. Notice I said it seems like that because I don't think it's actually as bad as it seems. Let's talk about actually using this money that we invest. Now, for most of us, we're not retired yet. You and I, we have jobs. We have to keep making money. We have to keep investing money so that then someday, if we decide to or cannot work anymore, we can just have that option. We go, fine, I'm out of here. I've got the money. I'm not going to work. I'm going to go do something else. Or I'm just going to work part-time. That's an option too. Whenever it comes time for us to get our retirement income out, we want it and we need it, and we don't want to deal with too many taxes when it comes time to use that money. So now we're not talking about taxes saved as we contribute money. We're talking about taxes and using the money and ease of use on the withdrawal side. So the first of these accounts that we need to deal with is the Roth. Now, whenever you're taking money out of a Roth, the beautiful thing is that you're not going to get taxed on it again. So that's really handy because you can go, every dollar I have in this Roth, I can count on. So that simplifies things. That's nice. You had to wait till a certain age to get there. So hopefully you're healthy. Hopefully you can span that gap between however old you are now and however old you'll be then. But assuming all that works out, yeah, you can have it. Now, traditional accounts like a traditional IRA are the opposite of that. So that's the kind of account where you saved money that year that you contributed to it. So let's say 2023, you put $5,000 in there, you get $5,000 taken off of your taxable income, which is nice. It frees up a little capital for you that year. The downside is that whenever you withdraw that money, you get hit with taxes then. So you get hit with taxes when you pull it out. So it's kind of like a tax procrastination feature where you're just putting it off until later. Now, 401k works really similarly to that last example, the traditional IRA. Tax-wise and withdrawal-wise, it's very, very similar. You get the tax break up front, you pay taxes on it later. Now, the problem with a handful of these two is what are called RMDs, required minimum distributions. For some reason, the government has put these limitations in place that once you reach a certain age, even if you don't need the money, even if you don't want to touch the money because you'd rather let it grow, you'd rather give it to your kids, you'd rather donate it to a charitable cause, whatever that thing is, you can't. You are forced to withdraw it. Required minimum distribution. It's distributing at least the minimum amount that they set for you out to you. So it can't stay invested. You have to take it. Now, at that point, you could still give that money to your kids or give that money to the foundation or whatever, but it's sort of taken out of the game as far as being invested in that account. It's a bummer. It just means that you have less control over that money because someone else is telling you what you have to do with it. As of this minute, I believe that age is 72. So you've got to be a pretty healthy person to be that age and to be thinking about that kind of thing, be fairly well off to even be concerned about it. But it still sucks that you don't have total control. And of course, there's just the age limits in general that you can't touch this money penalty free without being a certain age. A problem with all of those limitations and those rules and withdrawal limits and all that kind of stuff is that it assumes that we don't need to have control over when we take money out. We don't need to be able to make a big move if something happens in our life, like a medical expense, or we need to like move across the country or something crazy happens. Maybe our kids need a lot of money for something. It doesn't leave room for those unforeseen expenses that could happen at any time between today and that magical retirement date. It's sort of this optimistic, like freeway thinking that, oh yeah, we're just gonna keep going, keep working, keep contributing until we hit that date, and then we're just gonna retire and have all this money. So that kind of assumption sort of makes my skin crawl a little bit, and it makes a taxable brokerage account with its zero penalties look a lot more attractive. Even with that, there's still one more big problem. Won't we get hammered with taxes if we use a taxable brokerage account? Isn't it in the name, for Pete's sake? Taxable brokerage. It's like a warning on a cigarette box, like, watch out, Surgeon General, you're gonna die. Like, can we not just see that writing on the wall with the taxable brokerage account too? I thought so also. And then as I continued to do research, I found out the truth about this whole decision overall between investing and withdrawing that money years later. We need to know a tiny bit more about how taxes work to win in this thing, but it's something that we can explain pretty quickly. The concept that we need to know and understand well is just the basics of how tax brackets work, especially a standard deduction. It seems counterintuitive to make the claim that I'm about to make, but you can withdraw enough money from a taxable brokerage account to live comfortably and pay $0 in taxes. Okay, we're talking about amounts of money that you can have completely tax-free and not worry about this. And these examples are with 2022 dollars. So it's not even factoring into 2032 or 2042 or 2052 when a lot of us will be thinking about this and withdrawing money because we'll have enough that we can stop working and think about withdrawing money and just whatever, buying jet skis with it. Here's the beauty of this, that the tax brackets are set up so that you get taxed more and more on taxable income. Now we have to remember that not all income is taxed the same. Not all income is common taxable income in that way. Ordinary income is really the term you have to watch out for. Ordinary income is the income that most of us make for the rest of our lives throughout our job careers. Our jobs pay us income, comes from the company to us. That's ordinary. Now, what we want to focus on here is generating extraordinary income, because let's say for 2022, you are married filing jointly. You're both under the age of 65. Do you know that you can withdraw $109,250 per year completely tax-free? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that ridiculous? Whenever we're pulling invested money out of a taxable brokerage account that's been there for more than a year, what we're transferring that income into is long-term capital gains. And so we're not doing ordinary income from a boss, we're doing long-term capital gains. Now that doesn't change our standard deduction. So for 2022, that was $25,900. And that's a good chunk of money that you can have and live off of and get tax-free no matter where your income's coming from. But the beauty of this comes in whenever we talk about long-term capital gains. Because for 2022, the long-term capital gains tax rate, that's zero. No taxes whatsoever. Zero tax rate goes all the way up to $83,350. Isn't that amazing? You can pull that much money out of your taxable brokerage account that's profit, that is income, and get $0 taxed. And that's only going up. In 2023, that 0% tax rate group for a married filing jointly person is $89,250. So it's up almost $6,000 more just in 1 year. Have you ever heard of anyone talking about that? Have you ever talked to someone who's retired and they don't have to worry about money getting taxed because it's all theirs? They invested it, they take the standard deduction, they get $110,000 a year basically tax-free. Why are we not talking about this more? Remember, that's with the worst kind of account. That's a taxable brokerage account. That's the one that's just carefree. It's got taxable in the name. It's like the most reckless kind of investing. It's the free solo rock climber account of investing, and yet it's set up in such a way that we can have that much income tax-free. That's why I'm proposing a new normal in terms of investing now. What if a taxable brokerage account is actually the best of both worlds? It allows you all the total control you could ever want while giving you enough taxable income to live a great lifestyle. The flexibility here is really its superpower, because even if you're not just using one type of account only, think about combining them together and having a significant amount in the taxable brokerage, but also leveraging those retirement accounts. What if you wanted to live super luxuriously and have more income than that 110 and not really worry about taxes still? You could combine a taxable brokerage, a Roth IRA, an HSA account for your medical, and just be crushing it. Because let's say with the Roth, you sent $6,000 per year for 30 years at a 10% return and have just over $1 million in it. So your Roth has $1 million. Your safe withdrawal rate with common math for that would be $41,000 in change. There's of course no limit in how much you could have invested in the taxable brokerage account. So let's say you just shoveled money in there like a madman and you withdrew that $110,000 per year for a married couple. Then you combine the 110 with the 41, you've got $151,000 per year totally tax-free. Are you kidding me? Then all your HSA money goes towards paying your medical expenses. That's a good amount of money. But even if you want more income than that, and you have more invested because you've invested well, the long-term capital gains rates are pretty soft. And those first couple brackets are like really easy to live with. Think about this, for 2022, you could make up to $517,000 as a married couple and only get hit with 15% taxes. That's so low. What we need to point out here is that for you to have an advantage when it comes to taxes, when it comes to withdrawing money in retirement, you're not pigeonholed into a retirement account. Something like a taxable brokerage gives you way more freedom, and even a lot of freedom there whenever it comes time to retiring because of long-term capital gains. The moral of the story for us here is to get as much money transferred from ordinary income into long-term capital gains kind of income, because that gives us so much flexibility when it comes to taking our money and using it the way we want without getting taxed heavily and without having to mess with all these limits with retirement accounts. For you and me, the easiest way for us to do that is to invest. And investing in the stock market is the simplest, it's the least amount of work, and it costs the least amount upfront to do. And so that's that's why I talk about it a lot. You've got to subscribe to keep talking about this with me, because YouTube changes kind of the way they recommend things now. If you're not subscribed and have the notification thing turned on, you won't see these videos. So you've got to do that to make it happen. If you'd like to know which kind of investing service I recommend, watch this video next. This is the funniest video I've made all year, and I think you'll enjoy it. As a preview for that next video, the secret comment word today is pineapple. All right, see you later. Bye.